Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well and thank you for being here. This is the reading for the Libra Full Moon on the 13th of April. I hope everyone's doing well. It seems like the news is all just about Trump's tariffs. It's a bit of an unknown, I suppose, isn't it? Anyway, we'll see where we go with that. I guess it is an issue for people who are retired or approaching retirement. I don't have all that many followers, but from the demographic data I get, it does look like a lot of you are of a similar age to me, so mid-40s to mid-50s, so probably not the best timing for us. But anyway, the world will do what the world will do. So I'll just get back to this video. It's going to just follow the usual format. I'll take a look at the astrological chart first, and then I'll look at the tarot spread for the full moon. I can often see a connection between the two, but if you're not interested in the astrology at all, you can skip through to the tarot section. The timestamps for each section will be in the description box. So before we start, we'll just do the love pause as we always do. This is where we pause the video and send some love out into the universe. You can just do a Ho'oponopono prayer, which is to say the 4 sentences. Thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, and please forgive me. So I hope you will join me in the love pause. We'll take that pause now and I'll see you all on the next slide. Okay, so this is our full moon chart. It does look like another action-packed chart, so I will just start talking about it. In purple, we have the full moon axis highlighted with the sun in Aries on the left side of the chart and the moon in Libra on the right side of the chart. As you can see on the left side of the chart, Chiron is actually conjunct the sun in Aries. So right away that makes me think of something being illuminated that we are working on healing. Chiron can relate to a physical ailment as well as an emotional wound, and that's important to keep in mind. So the ruler of this full moon, because it's in Libra, the ruler is Venus, which is now direct in Pisces. And that's interesting this time because, as you know, Venus and Mercury have both been in retrograde in this area of your chart, but they are both now direct, so that's good. They're still both in Pisces, but they're both direct. Now, getting back to the lunar axis, the main aspect to it is coming from Mars in Cancer, which I've highlighted in red. So that actually has the potential to add more emotionality and drama to the mix because Mars is an aggressive energy and it's actually in an emotional sign with it being in Cancer. And Cancer is a cardinal sign as well, so it is, that sort of burst of energy that you get from cardinal signs. So this could be a little bit of a volatile placement there. So I guess this full moon might perhaps be a good time to seek out some solitude. Because if everyone's out there feeling a little bit triggered and a little bit reactive, it might just be best if we're not in each other's faces quite so much. I'm a bit wary as I'm talking about this because in my house we're all cardinal signs, so I guess this is going to play out for us a fair bit personally, I can imagine. But anyway, getting back to the chart, Venus is the ruler of this, and Venus is actually involved in that big conjunction of planets that I've highlighted in blue at the left of the chart. So Mercury is there as well, along with Saturn and the North Node. Neptune is technically out of Pisces, but it's at 0 degrees of Aries, so it's also very, very close, and I'm including it in that little blue section. Now, of note, the North Node happens to be bang in the middle of this cluster of activity. So it really is conjunct all of these other planetary energies. And obviously because of where they are, they're all opposing the South Node. So this is making me feel like the North Node is strongly supported at this full moon. And I'm going to say that's the other big thing that's going on at this full moon. With Venus and Mercury direct, that's significant because those are the 2 personal planets involved in all of this. So there's strong energetic support there. In terms of what they relate to, Venus relates to our divine feminine aspect and Mercury relates to our mind. We've also got Saturn there, and Saturn in Pisces would be about sort of spiritual structures and goals that we would like to establish and pursue. Now, Neptune in Aries is entering into a whole new territory now because it's not quite the dreamy la la land experience of Pisces, because Aries is obviously cardinal fire energy. It's masculine and it's action orientated. So Neptune here is going to be different to Neptune in Pisces. I don't think I've quite got how Neptune in Aries will operate, but it's definitely going to be different. But regardless, all of these energies are supportive of the North Node. So there's all that, but there's actually more because there are some other planets also supporting this little North Node centered cluster of planets. So I'll point them out. So Mars, which I already talked about, highlighted in red, is actually in a grand trine with that, a minor grand trine with the cluster, and the other planet involved in that is Uranus in Taurus, which I've highlighted in sort of that light greeny color at the left of the chart. So Mars and Uranus in this minor grand trine, so that's a lot of extra support coming in to harmonize with what's going on in this planetary cluster conjunction. And in addition to that, Neptune in Aries is also getting a sextile from Pluto in Aquarius. So all of these planets that I've talked about just now, Mars, Uranus, and Pluto, they're all very dynamic energies as well. So it actually feels to me like the planets in that cluster are maybe the more kind of restrained or peaceful energies, and then we get over to these three outer influences, and they're all power hitters in their own way, but they're also throwing their support in. So very interesting for what the North Node story is going to be. So it's almost like there's two stories here. So there's the one that relates to the full moon that involves Chiron and Mars. That's going to be quite intense and emotional perhaps. And then there's this other story which is about the North Node, and so that's going to be interesting how that's all going to manifest going forward. And that's all I can really say about the astrology. So I'll move on to the tarot section next. All right, this is our full moon spread. If you're interested in the decks I've used, I'll have them listed in the description box. So this does look like an intense spread actually, and there are a lot of fiery energies, and from what I can see, there's a bit of conflict here as well. So it's probably reflecting the astrology. It is still a bit funny to think about all this intensity and disharmony when it's a Libra full moon, because as we know, Libra is an air sign, and it tends to be about harmony and more pleasant things than this. But anyway, I'll get started. So the bottom of the deck is where a lot of these cards came from. So the actual card at the bottom of the deck is the Five of Swords, which isn't a very nice card. So this is about dealing with people who are just about themselves, and they don't care what happens to other people as long as they're getting what they want. Now, I did end up taking the next four cards because the next card was the Ace of Swords, and then the three after that were all major arcana cards in a row. And as you guys know, I do take those. So the Ace of Swords is actually a card of truth and clarity, and it's following this Five of Swords. So to me, that means that someone did gain some clarity about the situation they were in. So they might have realized that they were being exploited or deceived or manipulated or whatever it was. Or it might be that they finally woke up to the fact that they weren't being treated fairly. The way the Ace of Swords shows up does indicate that they weren't seeing something, and then something happened that revealed the truth to them. I do tend to see the aces as cardinal energies, and this is air sign energy, so I guess this Ace of Swords does represent the energy of Libra here at the bottom of the deck. The next three cards are the major arcana cards. We have the Emperor, the Devil, and the Hermit, so a real mixed bag there as well. The Emperor is Aries energy, and as I say that, it's actually reminding me of something that I didn't say in the astrology section, and that is that the Sun is exalted in Aries. So I remember saying that the Sun was illuminating something related to Chiron. So I wasn't expecting that to come up to me here in this tarot section, but I think it is perhaps changing the interpretation for me a little bit. So I wonder if that Five of Swords card is actually talking about a pattern, a karmic pattern. And so perhaps this is someone who tends to attract people who don't treat them right. And so they keep finding these people and ending up in dynamics where they are not treated right, taken advantage of, whatever this pattern is. So it's looking like it might be a repeating karmic pattern. And so that Ace of Swords was the clarity they really needed. So this person has woken up to the pattern, and that's what they're trying to heal at this full moon. That's the Chiron issue. All right, so I'll go through these major arcana cards. The Emperor card is a strong energy, obviously, and I'm also thinking about the fact that the Sun is in exaltation in Aries, which brings a lot of power to this part of the chart. I'm thinking of the phrase Sol Invictus, which means the unconquered sun, and that's just about how powerful sun energy is. The sun is undefeated always, so that's bringing a lot of strength to this Sun-Chiron conjunction. And I'm going to say that if this is a pattern that needs healing, that healing is definitely supported. The next card is that Devil energy, Capricorn. So this is the blockage or resistance to this person moving forward and making a better life for themselves. So it might be the other people, those external energies refusing to let this person go, but it might also be that this person's karmic pattern itself is what needs to be healed before they can move forward. It could be both. So this represents the struggle for this person. The traditional devil card shows people who are in chains. So this karmic pattern is something that operates in the same way. So examples of this kind of thing are addictions, or if we're talking about unhealthy relationships, which might be what we're talking about here, this could be about codependent or people-pleasing traits or overgiving sorts of tendencies. And these patterns can be actually really difficult to break free from, and the devil's influence remains in control until the person does manage to break free. So interestingly, speaking about that traditional devil card, the chains in that image aren't particularly secure, so the people actually look like they could just slip the chains over their head and they'd be free. So this is a bit like someone who's remaining chained because they're afraid of what might happen if they free themselves and take their power back. And I'm feeling here that they're scared because they've never actually known what it's like to be free. They have no idea what that life even looks like or how to operate that way. So this has been a long-standing influence on them. So the thought of freedom, I mean, it has its appeal, but it's also a confronting thing because it's like, how do I even do that? How do I even do that life? So I feel like this is the fear that's still limiting them, really. And finishing up at the bottom of the deck is the Hermit, which is Virgo energy. And that's interesting because I was getting that sense from the astrology that we should do some hermiting at this full moon. So I feel like this Hermit card is saying that it's necessary for this person to work through this on their own. The real block is their own fears, and they need to confront them. So if this part of it all is resonating for you, I'm thinking, why not just accept that you might not know what the future looks like or how you'll navigate it, but you'll figure it out. Like, tell yourself, I will figure it out. So put your faith in spirit and in your higher self. Thinking about the tough times in my own life, I feel like that's all you can ever do is get yourself through things, moment to moment, day by day. Just do your best. Make the best choice that's available to you and ask God for help. That's really how we get out of anything. It really is that moment by moment, day by day. And after a period of time, you'll look back and you'll see that you've traversed that bad point in your life. So really, whatever this devil energy looks like for you, just keep believing in yourself and keep making good choices. There might still be these people trying to pull you back to the way things used to be, but they're not stronger than your own will. In my own personal journey, I've noticed that people will try and pull you back down, and it's either by dragging you into their problems and dramas, or it's by trying to talk you out of whatever action you're trying to take. And that it will seem like a lot of well-meaning stuff, like, are you sure that's the right thing to do? Or what if such and such happens? And it seems like it's well-meaning and they're worried about you and they care about you. But when you step back and look at it, they're actually just making you feel afraid and making you doubt yourself. So So keep that in mind when you get that sort of stuff. And the point is that you don't have to go where they're leading you. So they might be trying to make you afraid and doubtful, but you don't have to go there. You do have a choice about that. Because the truth is, the actual way forward is to trust your inner guidance and to trust spirit. So if you feel there are things that you would like to do, actions that you'd like to take, then just keep going and keep doing those things. Keep trusting that everything you need on your journey will come if you put your trust in spirit. Maybe there's a leap of faith, but spirit is not going to let you fall if you took that leap of faith, trusting in spirit, if you know what I mean. Like, you've put your faith there, and that faith will be proven to be, what's the word? I don't know. Spirit won't let you down, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, wow, there was a lot that came through from the bottom of the deck there, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the most important message in all of this. So no matter how hard things get, Spirit has your back. So keep moving forward, ask for what you need, and have faith that you'll get it. Now, getting to the main tarot spread, it's interesting that all of these cards are from the Wand suit, so it really is all fire energy at this Libra full moon. They're also all minor arcana cards. So when you think about it, there were 3 major arcana cards at the bottom of the deck, and here we just have minor arcana cards. So I feel like that's saying there's a lot of intensity underlying this reading, but what's happening on the surface is not going to look like it's anything monumental. So maybe your life doesn't appear to change that much on the surface, but on the inside, you are confronting this karmic pattern in order to heal it. All right, so the card in the past position is the Four of Wands, which is a card of stability and success. And this card also has the energy of celebration. So it really is that feeling of things being good. There are things to celebrate in the life you're in. And I guess even if you were in some sort of karmic pattern that you were oblivious to, you might have felt that things were going well in your life, because when that Ace of Wands came through, it was bringing you a clarity that you didn't previously have. So before you got that clarity, you might have thought things were pretty good. Sorry, I just needed a sip of water. So anyway, I'm trying to think of these examples. It could be like, say you think that you're happily married, and then you figure out that your spouse is only with you because you're successful and wealthy, and they're actually using your money to do some things that aren't really good. So that would be a bit of a shock. And another example might be that you think you're enjoying a lot of career success because you're in a well-paid job, and then you find out that your boss has actually been taking credit for your work and your ideas, and even though you're well paid, they're actually getting huge bonuses because the organization wants to reward them for what they see as the value that this person is bringing to the organization. So basically, you're getting screwed over by your boss even though you're in a good paid job. So in both examples, you seem to be in a good place and you're happy, but then you get this clarity that someone is using you or exploiting you. And the discovery of this, it's shocking, and it's actually offensive to you as well. You don't want a spouse who's sponging off you and doing things that aren't right, and you don't want to work for someone who's secretly exploiting you for their benefit. So I feel like this is the Ace of Swords truth, where you understand that whatever is going on, you deserve better than that. And it's because you know that you know your own worth, so you know you deserve better than that. And then we come to the card in the present position, which is the Seven of Wands. And I feel like this is you confronting this reality. You're pushing back. You're maybe confronting these people and telling them that you know what they've been up to and that you're not going to accept it anymore. You're going to be standing up here for what you see as fair and reasonable. And I'm thinking of the fact that Mars is squaring the full moon, so you might be fighting people. And of course, I should also say these energies could even operate the other way around. So you might have people who take issue with how you've treated them if it relates to their Chiron issue that you've triggered. And so they might want to fight with you. So this might not be the most pleasant time, but we've kind of discovered that with the astrology anyway. And the Seven of Wands might also be about you confronting the pattern, because this might be the reason you have allowed some of these things that these people have done. So there might have been instances where they stepped over the line and you didn't do anything. So you might have felt in those instances that you didn't want to upset the spouse or you didn't want to disappoint the boss, and so you tolerated things that you probably shouldn't have. And so here in the present, you might be realizing that you actually should have had stronger boundaries in place and that you shouldn't have been so tolerant when people crossed the line. The card in the future position is the Five of Wands. And this isn't as bad as the Five of Swords, but I have to admit it's not really a card that I particularly like either. So the best case meaning of this card is to do with people training to be better and challenging each other to be better. So it's about sort of healthy competition. But obviously, the problem with competitiveness is that it can become a more aggressively competitive thing, and then it can start to become unhealthy. I'm personally not really a fan of competitiveness at all. I know some people find the challenge of competing quite motivating. I have a parent who's like that, and I have a child who's like that. So I definitely get the mindset. In both cases, they're not nasty about it, and they wouldn't do anything unethical, but they definitely want to know what others are doing and what they're capable of doing, and they want to be better than the competition. And I guess all of that fits into the category of healthy competitiveness. I've actually never been competitive like that. I've always just tried to do my best work, and if someone else happens to be better, then they are better. So I just accept that if my best work isn't enough to be the best, then it is what it is. So what I really focus on is just to keep improving at whatever I'm doing. And to be honest, I don't actually even feel any great need to be the best. I feel like if I'm consistently doing good work that's of a high standard, then there are people who will appreciate that. They're going to be people who are going to say, she always does a pretty good job, and I like that. And that's actually good enough for me, to be honest. I look at people who are highly competitive and always trying really hard to be better than everyone else, and it just looks very stressful to me. I guess I'm also not someone who takes it personally if someone is better than I am. I might just think, oh, they're gifted and it's their destiny to shine. Or I might think, oh, wow, they obviously work hard to get those results, so they really do deserve the success. So I don't see it as an issue if someone else shines at what they're good at. I actually think that God would be pleased with that. Like, God would be pleased that someone is fulfilling their potential. And really, that's probably what God wants all of us to do, to find our purpose and to do it to the best of our ability. So if someone else is shining at something, that's great. And if you find something that you're good at, then work hard at being good at it, and if you're meant to shine and succeed in that endeavor, you will. And I guess sometimes you aren't actually meant to shine at something, and maybe that's like it's hard to. I'm trying to say. What am I trying to say? I guess for some people, they're not here to experience that in their lifetime. So that experience of success is not what they're here to experience in this lifetime. And that's okay too, because when you think about it, most of the world isn't famous for something. There's only a few people who are famous for something. So it's a bit unrealistic to expect that we're all going to succeed. Yeah, and I think some people, like maybe we're just not meant to experience that in this lifetime. Maybe we're here to learn different lessons and have some other kind of purpose that's not to do with success. So, like there's lots of things I've got myself into that haven't been a success, and I might even include this in that, to be honest, because I haven't been a viral success on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. I've got a few followers and subscribers, but that doesn't even mean those people are watching or reading everything that I put out. In fact, I know that they aren't. So, you know, I could say, oh, I'm not succeeding there and be upset at people who are, but what's the point of that? Like, um, some people I think are meant to succeed, and it's fine, I think. Like I look at like some really excellent YouTube tarot readers, and they have a huge following. Like there's people who are always watching their videos and posting comments, and so I feel like they're shining because they're meant to shine. And I have no doubt that they're gifted and that they've worked hard to get where they are. But I do believe that they're successful because they're meant to be. Sorry, my throat's a bit funny today. And there's no reason for the rest of us to take that personally at all. Like, I mean, I could get down on myself for not succeeding at stuff, but the real truth is that I know that I've done other things, that I have done well at, and there are probably things I've done that the world's best YouTube reader in the world hasn't done, and maybe I was meant to accomplish those other things as part of my journey, but maybe they're meant to be the successful YouTube reader. Like, whatever it is, I just think we're all here to have a different life experience. And so, there's no guarantee that anyone has to be successful at what they're doing. And thinking about like my purpose, maybe my true purpose is actually just to raise good children or to clear generational karma or even just to ascend. It's hard to know what your true purpose is, and you might even have more than one purpose. So I think that all you can do is focus on the things that matter to you and try to do your best. So I know for me, my family matters a lot, spirituality matters a lot, and I obviously have some hobbies that I enjoy. So, like, this is where my energy goes. It goes to these things that matter. And I feel like that's probably how it should be for everyone. Like, your energy should go to what matters to you. I feel like this is way off tangent here, but this competitiveness topic is worth talking about, I feel, because it does cause problems. Like, it makes people do things that aren't good. And to be honest, it's not even good for them at the end of the day because it's taking them away from what their journey is supposed to be about. We're not meant to spend our lives sort of thinking about what other people are doing with their lives. I mean, that's just sad. Our lives should be about us and what we want to accomplish in our lives. That's where our focus should be, not on what other people might be doing. I'm sorry, there's a bit of background noise here. It is school holidays here, so hopefully my microphone's blocking it out, but it might be picked up a little bit. I should get back to the tarot reading now, shouldn't I? Enough about competitiveness. So this last card, it's not the Five of Swords. And I'm going to say that's a good thing because it's probably saying that you did address that karmic pattern and those people that weren't treating you the right way. You've cleared your life of that bad energy, which is good. But the Five of Wands is still here. And it, like I said, it's not my favorite card. You're not entirely home free here. I feel like you're still going to be attracting competitive people. I feel like you're someone who must shine at something, like there's something you're shining at, and the competitive people out there are going to want to challenge you. They are going to want to beat you at what you do. They are going to try to get their hands on what you've got, yada, yada, yada. So looking at the spread, I feel like you maybe do have to remain in that Seven of Wands energy where you just have to confront the reality of what other people's intentions are. You have to be a little bit defensive is what I'm saying. So maybe you don't give away all your tricks or share all your secrets. Maybe you vet people thoroughly before you allow them into your life and you don't just blindly trust people. Maybe you need to become very good at protecting your own interests. It is what it is. So this might be what the journey looks like for you. It's not amazing, but I guess you can only just stick to having faith in your inner guidance and faith in spirit. You might eventually find some good people that you can be close to, but this message it's almost giving me that feeling of it's lonely at the top. And I think that might be what this is. Like, you're gifted at something and you might have to accept that a lot of the people around you just aren't at your level and they won't have good intentions. They're either going to want to cling to you like a parasite because you're successful, or they're going to want to steal from you, or they're going to want to take you down. So whatever their intentions are, I mean, I guess just accept that people don't always have good intentions, and whatever their intentions are, it's important to know that God's intention is that you shine. Like, God wants you to shine, and God doesn't want other people messing with your ability to shine at whatever you're here to do. So I feel like this is very much about remaining focused on your purpose. If other people start getting in the way, you need to make it clear that you're not accepting that from them, and then you just keep going towards your purpose. So some connections might end. But let's face it, you can't change other people, and if they're not good for you, they're not good for you, you know. You'll definitely be better off without their influence affecting your ability to do what you're meant to be doing. The first oracle card here is titled Desires. It has the keywords goals, passion, craving, and fulfillment. This is a sacral chakra card, and I have to admit the image made me think about energy. Sorry, the image made me think about devil energy because it does show a naked woman sort of reaching out seductively to invite someone into her arms. So this might be specific for someone, but maybe that karmic pattern is some kind of temptation. And for some, it might be lust. I can't say I've strongly felt that as part of this reading, but maybe for some it is. But I just feel like you've kept being pulled back into some kind of unhealthy pattern because of your addiction to a certain thing. It can be anything really, but see it as something that has that power to influence you and pull you back. And it might be like, wouldn't you rather do this than go focus on your soul purpose? This is much more fun, it's easier, it's more comfortable for you, and you won't be alone. And as I said that, I got being alone is what you're actually most afraid of. So you're afraid of exiting the old life because you're afraid of being alone and you're afraid you'll lose everyone and end up alone. So it's that fear that the devil energy can keep activating, and it can use it to keep you stuck in situations and connections that aren't good for you. And really, you just have to find the strength and courage to resist that influence. And remember, you're never actually alone at all because Spirit is always with you. Spirit has always been with you, and Spirit will always be with you. So you're never going to be alone. And it's funny to see this as a number 12 card because that's the Hanged Man card in tarot, something that's very much about you being stuck, right? The second oracle card is Transformation, and I love that this is a butterfly in this image. Butterflies do remind me of the Hanged Man energy as well because when they're stuck, they're stuck when they're in the chrysalis, and then they break out when they're ready, you know, when they're strong enough. And so there's a butterfly here in this image. So it's obviously broken out of this chrysalis, but it's sitting on this twig and it's looking at the light. So it's drawn to this light, but it actually hasn't moved to get closer to it. But when you look closely at the image, it's almost like it's visualizing itself along the path. So getting closer to the light because there's all these little faint butterflies up ahead. So that's making me think about how I was talking about the little steps, like the little moment to moment, day by day steps that get you away from the bad stuff and towards the light. So I guess with this card, I feel like, you know, don't ever think about how far away the light is. Don't think about that. But think about the steps you can take and the decisions you make that will get you closer and further along and closer to that light. And, you know, this is a butterfly here, so I feel like you already have your wings, so you can definitely get there if you make it your intention that you're going to get there. So the thing is, you just have to make it really solid, like you just say, I am never going back to how things were, to the way life was. I am only going to move forward, and it doesn't matter how long it takes, but I will just keep taking the little steps that move me forward. And so if you make that your intention, like it's crystal clear in your mind, then you know you're going to get there. And the last oracle card also has butterfly energy, but this is, I think, showing where you're headed. You know, the card's titled Infinite Blessings. So there are infinite blessings for you on the path ahead if you don't give up. And this is a number 17 card, which makes me think of the star card. So wherever you are right now, it might not be the best place, but don't lose hope. You just keep focusing on your guiding star. You know, it's guiding you in the right direction, and you will get there if you follow the guidance. And really, following the guidance is just moment by moment, day by day, just those little steps, and you just keep moving forward. And that's it for this video. I feel like it was actually quite a heavy tarot reading, but it it did look like it was going to end positively. So the main thing is that you don't give up. If you're still here, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. I always love to hear people's thoughts as well, so please leave a comment if you feel like you would want to. And for those who are already subscribed, thank you for your support. Now, as I said earlier, all my decks will be in the description box. If it's a deck that's available on Amazon, I've got some Amazon affiliate links that you can use to check them out. If you click on those links and you end up buying the deck, I might qualify for a small commission from Amazon. So if you are interested in using the links, do check out the description box. There's some extra information in there. Now, all of my older videos have also been updated in the same way, so the deck details will be in the description box. Thank you all for staying to the end, and I hope that I'll see you again in another video. I hope this full moon goes okay for you, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.